How are you, friends? Okay, today is my birthday. I'm the birthday girl. I will be blowing out more candles, one more year, and also blowing off one more year of my life. Getting a year older, but I'm still happy, and every year I love celebrating my birthday. I feel special. And our little daughter, she had been like, today is 3rd April, but she had been preparing for her mama's uh, birthday since 3 days. She had been blowing balloons, planning games, making cards, doing her own little decors, and I truly feel very special. And I got a lot of birthday wishes from my friends, families. So today is indeed a day to celebrate. I really feel that I am very fortunate to have people around me who actually loves me. Okay, let's continue with this book, The Emperor's New Mind. Okay, Searle himself has countered this last objection by allowing a whole team of human non-Chinese speaking symbol manipulators to replace the previous single inhabitant, himself of his Chinese room. So what will I do is that once I finish this introduction, I will make a gist of whatever we have read. All this. Sorry, my cell phone is making a lot of noises. So let me put it on silent. So the thing is that once we finish this introduction, which is around it has 37 pages. So once I finish this, I will make a gist of what we have read in all this 37 pages, so that we can make out that whatever we have gone through, like we actually understood what we had been reading or discussing in these pages. To get the numbers large enough, he even imagines replacing his room by the whole of India, its entire population excluding those who understand Chinese, being now engaged in symbol manipulation. Though this would be in practice absurd, it is not in principle absurd, and the argument is essentially the same as before. The symbol manipulators do not understand the story, despite the strong AI claim that the mere carrying out of the appropriate algorithm would elicit the mental quality of understanding. However, now other objection begins to loom large. Are not these individual Indians more like the individual neurons in a person's brain than like the whole brain itself? No one in a person's brain than like the whole no one would suggest that neurons whose firings apparently constitute the physical activity of a brain in the act of thinking would themselves individually understand what the person is thinking. So why expect the individual Indians to understand the Chinese stories? Searle replies to this suggestion by pointing out the apparent absurdity of India, the actual country, understanding a story that none of its individual inhabitants understands. A country, he argues, like a thermostat or an automobile, is not in the business of understanding, whereas an individual person is. This argument has a good deal less force to it than the earlier one. I think that Searle's argument is at its strongest when there is just a single person carrying out the algorithm, where we restrict attention to the case of an algorithm which is sufficiently uncomplicated for a person actually to carry it out in less than a lifetime. I do not regard his argument as rigorously establishing that there is not some kind of disembodied understanding associated with the person's carrying out of that algorithm, and whose presence does not impinge in any way upon his own consciousness. However, I would agree with Searle that this possibility has been rendered rather implausible to say the least. I think that Searle's argument has a considerable force to it, even if it is not altogether conclusive. It is rather convincing in demonstrating that algorithms with the kind of complication that Schenck's computer program processes cannot have any genuine understanding whatsoever of the task that they perform. Also, it suggests, but no more, that no algorithm, no matter how complicated, can ever of itself alone embody genuine understanding, in contradistinction to the claims of strong AI. There are, as far as I can see, other very serious difficulties with the strong AI point of view. According to strong AI, it is simply the algorithm that counts. It makes no difference whether that algorithm is being affected by a brain, an electronic computer, an entire country of Indians, a mechanical device of wheels and cogs, or a system of water pipes. The viewpoint is that it is simply the logical structure of the algorithm that is significant for the mental state it is supposed to represent, the particular physical embodiment of that algorithm being entirely irrelevant. As Searle points out, this actually entails a form of dualism. Dualism is a philosophical viewpoint espoused by the highly influential 17th century philosopher and mathematician René Descartes, and it asserts that there are two separate kinds of substance: mind stuff and ordinary matter. Whatever or how one of these kinds of substance might or might not be able to affect the other is an additional question. The point is that the mind stuff is not supposed to be composed of matter and is able to exist independently of it. The mind stuff of strong AI is the logical structure of an algorithm. As I have just remarked, the particular physical embodiment of an algorithm is something totally irrelevant. The algorithm has some kind of disembodied existence which is quite apart from any realization of that algorithm in physical terms. Algorithm in physical terms. How seriously we must take this kind of existence as a question I shall need to return to in the next chapter. It is part of the general question of the Platonic reality of abstract mathematical objects. For the moment, I shall sidestep this general issue and merely remark that the supporters of strong AI do indeed seem to be taking the reality at least of algorithms seriously, since they believe that algorithms form the substance of their thoughts, their feelings, their understanding, their conscious perceptions. There is a remarkable irony in this fact that, as Searle has pointed out, the standpoint of strong AI seems to drive one into an extreme form of dualism, the very viewpoint with which the supporters of strong AI would least wish to be associated. This dilemma lies behind the sense of an argument put forward by Douglas Hofstadter. I hope I am pronouncing this right. Hofstadter, 1981, himself a major proponent of the strong AI view, in a dialogue entitled A Conversation with Einstein's Brain. Hofstadter envisages a book of absurdly monstrous proportions which is supposed to contain a complete description of the brain of Albert Einstein. Any question that one might care to put to Einstein can be answered just as the living Einstein would have, simply by leafing through the book and carefully following all the detailed instructions it provides. Of course, simply is an utter misnomer, as Hofstadter is careful to point out. But his claim is that, in principle, the book is completely equivalent in the operational sense of a Turing test to a ridiculously slowed down version of the actual Einstein. Thus, according to the contentions of strong AI, the book would think, feel, understand, and be aware just as though it were Einstein himself, but perhaps living at a monstrously slowed down rate, so that to the book, Einstein, the world outside, would seem to flash by at a ridiculously speeded up rate. Indeed, since the book is supposed to be merely a particular embodiment of the algorithm which constitutes Einstein's self, it would actually be Einstein. But now a new difficulty presents itself. The book might never be opened, or it might be continually pored over by innumerable students and searchers after truth. How would the book know the difference? Perhaps the book would not need to be opened, its information being retrieved by means of X-ray tomography or some other technological wizardry. Would Einstein's awareness be enacted only when the book is being so examined? Would he be aware twice over if two people chose to ask the book the same question at two completely different times? Or would that entail two separate and temporarily distinct instances of the same state of Einstein's awareness? Perhaps his awareness would be enacted only if the book is changed. After all, normally when we are aware of something, we receive information from the outside world which affects our memories, and the states of minds are indeed slightly changed. If so, does this mean that it is suitable changes in algorithms? And here I am including the memory store as part of the algorithm, which are to be associated with mental events rather than, or perhaps in addition to, the activation of algorithms. Or would the book Einstein remain completely self-aware, even if it were never examined or disturbed by anyone or anything? Hofstadter touches on some of these questions, but he does not really attempt to answer or to come to terms with most of them. Okay, this much for today. See you in my next video. In my next video, we'll continue with this wonderful journey, The Emperor's New Mind by Sir Roger Penrose. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.